What if I told you that your body is sitting on a natural hormone factory, and after 60, most men have basically shut it down without even knowing? There is a cheap, natural compound, something your body already recognizes, that multiple peer-reviewed studies have shown can raise testosterone by up to 25%, reduce inflammation markers, and protect your heart at the same time. No prescriptions, no injections, no dangerous side effects. Doctors rarely talk about this because there is simply no money in it. But the science is there, and it is clear. Today we are breaking down 4 things every man over 60 absolutely needs to know about this compound. And trust me, by the time we get to number 1, you will completely understand why this has been called one of the most underrated discoveries in men's health in the last 2 decades. Number 4, Ashwagandha. Let's start with number 4. And this one might already sound familiar to you, but most men are not using it correctly, and that gap between using it and using it right is where all the results live. Ashwagandha, scientifically known as Withania somnifera, is an adaptogenic herb that has been used in Ayurvedic medicine for over 3,000 years. The word adaptogen simply means it helps your body adapt to stress. It does not force a single outcome, but instead pushes your biology toward balance. When it comes to testosterone in men over 60, the results in modern clinical research are genuinely hard to ignore. A 2019 randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study published in Medicine Journal looked at 57 men between 18 and 70 who were given 600 milligrams of ashwagandha root extract daily for 8 weeks. By the end of the trial, the men taking ashwagandha showed an average testosterone increase of 14.7% compared to the placebo group. Their muscle recovery improved. Their cortisol levels dropped by 27.9%. Now, why does cortisol matter here? Because cortisol and testosterone are direct hormonal enemies. When cortisol goes up, which happens constantly under chronic stress, poor sleep, and inflammation, testosterone comes down. It is almost like a biological seesaw. Ashwagandha attacks that problem at the root. Another study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition in 2015 followed 57 male subjects over 8 weeks and found that those supplementing with 300 milligrams of ashwagandha twice daily saw significant increases in muscle strength, a 3.5% decrease in body fat percentage, and an 18% increase in testosterone levels compared to the placebo group. These were real people, real numbers, and the herb costs next to nothing compared to any pharmaceutical alternative. Now, here is how to get maximum benefit from it. The form matters enormously. You want a root extract that is standardized to at least 5% withanolides. Those are the active compounds inside the plant that do the heavy lifting. KSM-66 and Sensoril are 2 commercially standardized forms that have the most clinical research behind them. The standard effective dose is between 300 and 600 milligrams per day, and you should split it. Take half in the morning with food and half in the evening. Taking it with a small amount of fat, like a meal containing olive oil or nuts, significantly improves absorption because withanolides are fat-soluble compounds. Timing matters too. Ashwagandha is not like caffeine where you feel something within an hour. It is a slow builder. Most of the meaningful hormonal benefits show up between week 4 and week 8 of consistent daily use. Do not quit after 2 weeks thinking it is not working. Stick with it. Also, cycling is smart. Take it for 3 months, then take 2 weeks off. This prevents your body from adapting to the compound and losing sensitivity to it. One more thing on safety. Ashwagandha is generally very well tolerated. But if you have thyroid conditions, are on thyroid medication, or take sedatives or immunosuppressants, check with your doctor first because ashwagandha has mild thyroid-stimulating activity and can interact with those medications. Now let's step it up a level. If this is already surprising you, hit subscribe, because we cover this kind of science-backed men's health content every single week. Number 3. Vitamin D3 plus K2. This is where a lot of men make a very costly mistake. They hear vitamin D and think it is just about bone health and then move on. But the research on vitamin D and testosterone is so strong that the World Health Organization has flagged vitamin D deficiency as a global health crisis, and studies suggest that over 40% of adults in the United States alone are deficient. The number is even higher in men over 60. Here is the key thing to understand. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin in the traditional sense. It is a precursor to a steroid hormone, a word the body uses to regulate over 200 different genes. The cells in your testes, the very cells responsible for producing testosterone, are packed with vitamin D receptors. That is not a coincidence. That is your biology telling you something. A landmark study published in Hormone and Metabolic Research in 2011 followed 165 men over 12 months. The group that received 3,332 international units of vitamin D daily saw their testosterone levels increase by 25.2% compared to the placebo group, whose testosterone actually declined slightly over the same period. 25%. That is a number that would make any pharmaceutical company jealous, and this is a nutrient that costs pennies per day. Another analysis published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism reviewed data from over 1,362 men and found that men with sufficient vitamin D levels had significantly higher testosterone and lower levels of sex hormone-binding globulin, also called SHBG. SHBG is a protein that binds to testosterone and makes it unavailable to your body. So not only does vitamin D help produce more testosterone, it helps keep more of it free and usable. That double effect is enormously important for men over 60. Now here is the mistake most people make. They take vitamin D3 alone and do not pair it with vitamin K2, and that is a serious problem. When you take high-dose vitamin D3, it increases calcium absorption in the gut, which sounds great for bones, right? But without K2, that calcium can end up depositing in your arteries rather than your bones. This is a recognized cardiovascular risk in people supplementing with D3 alone over long periods. Vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form, acts like a traffic director. It ensures calcium goes where you want it to go, into bones and teeth, and stays out of your arteries. The research on this combination is strong enough that many cardiologists now recommend D3 and K2 together as a standard pairing. For most men over 60, the effective supplemental dose of D3 is between 2,000 and 5,000 international units per day. But here is what you should actually do. Get your blood levels tested first. You are looking for a 25-hydroxyvitamin D level between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter for optimal hormonal function. Many men who think they are fine will discover they are sitting at 18 or 22 nanograms per milliliter, which is deep deficiency territory. For K2, 100 to 200 micrograms of MK7 per day is the well-studied dose. Take both with your largest meal of the day since, like ashwagandha's active compounds, both D3 and K2 are fat-soluble and absorb best in the presence of dietary fat. Sunlight is your best source of vitamin D naturally. About 20 minutes of midday sun on large areas of skin can produce 10,000 to 20,000 international units, depending on your skin tone and location. But men over 60 produce 75% less vitamin D from sun exposure than they did at age 20, because the skin's ability to synthesize it declines dramatically with age. That is why supplementation is not optional for this age group. It is essentially mandatory if you want your testosterone system running at anything close to full capacity. Here is something even better. Number 2, magnesium. Magnesium might be the most unglamorous mineral in the cabinet, but it is quietly one of the most powerful testosterone-supporting compounds available to men, and nearly 2/3 of adults in the Western world are not getting enough of it. That is not a small problem. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body, including several that are directly involved in testosterone synthesis and regulation. Here is how it works mechanically. Testosterone in your bloodstream exists in two forms. There is bound testosterone, which is attached to proteins like SHBG and albumin, and then there is free testosterone, the kind that actually enters your cells and does the work. What magnesium does is compete with SHBG for binding sites. In simple terms, when magnesium levels are high enough, it effectively frees up more of your testosterone to be biologically active. You could have decent total testosterone on a blood test, but terrible free testosterone, and magnesium directly addresses that gap. A study published in Biological Trace Element Research in 2011 followed both sedentary men and trained athletes over 4 weeks. Both groups received 10 milligrams of magnesium per kilogram of body weight daily. At the end of the trial, free testosterone increased by 26% in the sedentary group and by an impressive 24% in the athletes. These were not elite athletes given exotic compounds. These were regular men given a basic mineral at a therapeutic dose. Another study in the Journal of Pharmaceutical and Biomedical Analysis found strong positive correlations between serum magnesium levels and total testosterone, free testosterone, and IGF-1, which is another key anabolic hormone that declines sharply with age. There is also a critical sleep connection here that most men completely miss. Magnesium activates the parasympathetic nervous system, that is your rest and digest mode, and regulates GABA receptors in the brain, which are the same receptors that sleep medications target. When magnesium levels are adequate, deep sleep quality improves measurably, and deep sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep, is when approximately 70% of your daily testosterone is produced and released. So if your sleep is poor, your testosterone is poor, full stop. Fixing magnesium can fix the sleep, and fixing the sleep can dramatically improve the hormonal output that happens during it. The best form to supplement with is magnesium glycinate. It is the most bioavailable form, meaning your body absorbs the largest percentage of what you take. It is also the form least likely to cause the digestive discomfort that comes with cheaper versions like magnesium oxide, which is found in most grocery store supplements and is barely absorbed at all. Magnesium citrate is a middle option, decent absorption, but can have a mild laxative effect at higher doses. Avoid magnesium oxide unless bowel regulation is specifically what you are after. The effective dose for most men is between 300 and 420 milligrams of elemental magnesium per day. Take it in the evening, about an hour before bed, and you will feel the sleep benefit within the first week. Food sources high in magnesium include dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, dark chocolate, above 70% cacao, almonds, black beans, and avocado. But getting therapeutic levels from food alone is genuinely difficult given modern soil depletion and dietary habits, so supplementation closes the gap reliably. One caution: men with kidney disease need to be careful with magnesium supplementation because damaged kidneys cannot clear excess magnesium efficiently. If you have any kidney issues, speak to your doctor before starting. And now the one that changes everything. Number 1. Boron. This is the one. If you only take one thing from this entire video, let it be this. Boron is a trace mineral, something your body uses in tiny amounts, but its impact on free testosterone in men is so significant that when the research came out, it genuinely shocked the scientific community. And yet most men have never heard of it. Most doctors have never mentioned it, and it costs almost nothing. Boron works through several pathways simultaneously, which is part of why its effects are so pronounced. First, it dramatically reduces SHBG. Remember, that is the protein that locks up your testosterone and makes it unavailable. When SHBG drops, free testosterone rises, even if total testosterone stays the same. Second, boron reduces a compound called estradiol, which is a form of estrogen that men produce in increasing amounts as they age. As testosterone converts to estradiol through a process called aromatization, men lose more and more of their hormonal advantage. Boron slows that conversion down and helps shift the balance back. Third, boron enhances the activity of vitamin D in the body. It helps the kidneys convert vitamin D into its active hormonal form more efficiently. Now the numbers. A study published in the Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology in 2011 is one of the most cited in this space. In this trial, healthy male volunteers were given 10 milligrams of boron daily for just 7 days, one single week. After those 7 days, free testosterone increased by 28.3%. SHBG dropped by 9%. Estradiol dropped by 39%. Inflammatory markers including interleukin-6 and high-sensitivity C-reactive protein also dropped significantly. All of that happened in 7 days, not 12 weeks. 7 days. A separate study published in Integrative Medicine. A clinician's journal reviewed boron's broader health effects and confirmed that men who consumed higher amounts of dietary boron had significantly lower rates of prostate cancer, one of the most common and feared health concerns for men over 60. The researchers found that men in the highest quartile of boron intake had a 64% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to those in the lowest quartile. 64%. From a mineral that costs under $15 per bottle. Boron also plays a role in brain function and cognitive clarity, something that quietly declines in men with low testosterone. It supports the production of neurotransmitters and helps with hand-eye coordination, attention, and short-term memory. Men over 60 who maintain adequate boron levels tend to have sharper cognitive function and better fine motor skills, according to research from the USDA Human Nutrition Research Center. Here is how to use it correctly. The dose used in the most significant clinical studies is 10 milligrams per day of boron in the form of boron glycinate or calcium fortobarate. Both are well-absorbed forms. The glycinate form is the most widely available in supplements. Start at 6 milligrams and work up to 10 milligrams after a couple of weeks to let your body adjust. Taking it with food improves absorption and reduces any minor gastric sensitivity. You do not need to cycle boron the way you would cycle some other supplements. Daily long-term use at these doses appears safe based on current research, with the tolerable upper intake level set at 20 milligrams per day by the National Institutes of Health. Food sources of boron include prunes, raisins, avocados, almonds, and dried apricots. But here is the reality check. To get 10 milligrams of boron from food alone, you would need to eat roughly 200 grams of prunes every single day. Supplementation is simply the practical path. A quality boron supplement delivers a clinically relevant dose in one small capsule. There is one important thing to know about combining these compounds. Boron, magnesium, vitamin D3 with K2, and ashwagandha are not competing with each other, they are synergistic. Boron enhances vitamin D activation. Magnesium is required for vitamin D metabolism. Ashwagandha lowers cortisol, which allows testosterone production to increase more efficiently. Together, these four compounds create a stack that addresses testosterone production, testosterone availability, hormonal balance, and the stress hormones that suppress the entire system. That is why this combination, done correctly, can produce results that feel almost implausible from something you can buy at a health food store for under $60 total. The bottom line is this. Men over 60 are not destined to run on low testosterone, low energy, and declining strength. The biology is not inevitable, it is manageable, and the research backs that up clearly. These are not fringe supplements pushed by influencers. These are compounds studied in peer-reviewed journals with real men and real numbers. Start with boron. Add magnesium glycinate at night. Pair your vitamin D3 with K2 at your biggest meal. And give ashwagandha 8 weeks to do its work. Give your body what it has been asking for, and then watch what happens. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these four have you already tried, and did you notice a difference? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.